We've got the backstage reaction in WWE over CM Punk's potential AEW departure. AEW have signed a new talent, and Tony Khan has teased a UK AEW show. Stay tuned for the news. We're back once again, the third news video of today. It has been a busy day for news. We've got so much that we need to talk about and tell the people, Sam. And we've got one massive story about CM Punk. Now, we covered yesterday, me and Andrew were discussing that CM Punk could be potentially bought out of his AEW contract, and they're looking to do that as a way to sort of diffuse the tensions after All Out. But Fightful Select have provided an update on WWE's backstage reaction to these reports. And it said that their source told them that although they didn't think Vince McMahon would bring CM Punk into WWE following the controversy of All Out, Triple H's regime is different. And the line of thinking there may be with the right situation, the right money, and the right creative, anything can leave it open for things to happen.
As much as I can see it, I just can't see it ever happening. Like, I feel like the door is perma-closed, but the thing is as well, if he's got an axe to grind, I can see him just going straight over there. It's one of those weird things, but it blows my mind that we're sat here talking about this, considering how big a deal it was that he debuted for AEW. Yeah. And then, you know, there's a backstage fight, and then now we're here, and my brain is still going, but couldn't you have somehow mended all of this and turned it into a giant thing? So
there's like a steaming pile of money that they're just like ignoring.
It's like
right there.
It's literally, it's getting bigger by the day. But at the same time, you know, it feels like things might be a lot more serious than we're maybe aware. If this is indeed the case, if it's looking like he may be bought out of his contract and the potential's there for him to go elsewhere if he so chooses to do so, like,
I mean, it looks like it is going that direction. We've heard of, like, there's lots of lawsuits and potential legal ramifications of the investigation that is currently ongoing. It's no surprise, though, that Triple H might look to bring Punk in terms of you want something controversial.
Smart business. It isn't it? Like, when you look at it, you know, it's probably going to cost you a hell of a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of water going under a lot of bridges, and it's going to take a lot of fences being mended. This is why I think it's just not possible. But if that is possible, if all of those things were to happen, then you have the hottest but the hottest jump going. I mean, and you give him a live mic and you let him speak his mind, and you let him drop pipe bombs on another company, then, you know, you've got Piper-esque levels of controlling the audience there.
Well, it certainly makes compelling TV, which is what another source noted to Fightful. They said Triple H wants to be a success and make compelling programming more than anything. CM Punk back in WWE is compelling programming. But the source said, but I can't see it being a full-time deal like he has in AEW. Because of exactly what happened in AEW. You know, he went full-time, and then things kind of just went downhill in terms of, like, the atmosphere in AEW, right? But the source continued by saying that's even if he has any interest, referring to CM Punk. If he gets a buyout from his AEW contract, he may not need to work again.
Yeah.
We don't know how much money he was earning.
You gotta think it's massive, because this is somebody who routinely would tell anybody that would listen that he was never going back to wrestling.
Right. Like, we know, we talked about it this morning with Chris Jericho's contract. We know that he was on $3 million per year, which made him one of the highest paid stars in the company, but you can only assume that CM Punk is in that ballpark of deals. And if they're buying him out, they've got to give him that.
You got to think how the hell does this work as well after, say, he does get bought out. Everybody's got to kind of awkwardly return. There's going to be a lot of CM Punk fans that are going to be miffed by this. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people who maybe have had their opinion changed if they were a big fan of, like, one star in particular involved in it. And I think it's going to be a very hard thing to just kind of address. You could just throw them out there, but it's still going to kind of feel like everybody's just awkwardly shuffling in after, like, a disaster at the end of a staff party. Yeah. And you know, it's sort of everybody's looking at the floor and just trying to get on with it. And how do you mask that?
I don't know.
Especially if he goes over the other side of the fence with a hot mic. Like,
that's the
you're
terrifying
just hemorrhaging then.
Like, if he goes over to WWE and just says anything he wants about AEW. That's really bad for them. And as a massive CM Punk fan, I just want the situation to resolve itself. I just want everything to be okay. CM Punk's return last year was one of the greatest
throw another
moments in
billionaire
wrestling.
into the mix. Give him his own promotion.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Get the money sent to him. I know you're starting a new company. But on SmackDown last night, a star was actually injured. Following an attack from the Bloodline, WWE announced that Sheamus had suffered a non-displaced fracture near his elbow and that he was under observation now. It was a storyline injury, but it's interesting that they're now positioning Sheamus to go even a bit further up the card. I'd like to see maybe him tussle with Roman Reigns.
Look. After Clash, after being in that atmosphere, after just soaking that in, come on. I want Sheamus. I want Sheamus as many bangers as possible.
But he had some fantastic matches, as you mentioned, Clash at the Castle. He had the fantastic match on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago with Gunther again.
Yep.
And then the match at Extreme Rules. I think Sheamus is on a hot streak at the moment. Something that he's not been. Well,
it feels like both Drew and Sheamus are having a bit of a shot in the arm right now.
Yeah,
and it's something that I'm excited to see how far it's going to go. Because, there's no stopping either of them. But Sheamus, Bloodline, that's going to be a nice brawl and a half, right?
I mean, Sheamus is for sure on a career resurgence. Give me him and
throw
Roman
all
Reigns.
the orbiters into the mix. You've got a nice big old brawl.
Usos and Sammy versus Sheamus, Butch and Ridge Holland. Yes, please.
Yeah.
But we also have an update on the IWGP Women's title. This comes from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. What does it say, Sam?
So this one, it's more just clarification around the IWGP title, and the Observer says, just in case there is any question, Stardom has the booking control of the IWGP Women's Championship, not New Japan, even though the belt is earmarked for New Japan US shows and major New Japan Japanese shows. The belt was designed by the same people who do the AEW belts and the New Japan Strong belt as well, for anybody that was wondering. And I think this is more just a symptom of how wrestling's been for our lifetimes, right? And maybe for a little bit before that, from once Vince took over, really. You had wrestling governing bodies, sort of like boxing. So the World Wrestling Federation was a governing body. The IWGP, International Wrestling Grand Prix, is a governing body. The National Wrestling Alliance was a governing body. And so why wouldn't they be able to give a belt to another promotion? Because it's like, well, you can become part of our club. You are now going to be governed, or at least some of your matches are going to be governed by this body, under this body's rules. And I think that it's more just sort of a holdout from that era. And the fact that we don't really see much because we're so used to just promotion these days rather than governing bodies like New Japan has with New Japan Pro Wrestling and the IWGP.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to see the two companies work in some capacity together.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the second that partnership kind of happened, it made sense because one of the biggest criticisms in the West of New Japan is that it's a male-only company. Things work very differently in Japan and the sports leagues there and the way it's treated, which is why obviously you have companies like Stardom, which is an all-female company. But in order to have that mix and to be able to bring Stardom's wrestling, which is some of the finest wrestling out there, to a much larger audience one natively in Japan that may be sleeping on it, that maybe don't watch Stardom, you have the opportunity there. And two, it's ticking that box for all of the international shows and giving more exposure to Japanese talent and pushing Stardom up the card, and IWGP's featured and New Japan's featured, and then they'll bring it all together. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm excited to see what they do with the belt. But a small note on AEW, they've actually signed a new talent. After AEW Rampage last night, Tony Khan took to Twitter to congratulate Willow Nightingale as joining the team. She got the All Elite graphic and she's now a full-time member of the roster. I think that was a long time coming. She's been fantastic since her sort of debut. I thought that she was going to go with the Ring of Honor side of things, but I feel like she still will.
I feel like Ring of Honor is going to be something we see really start to shape up over the course of next year. And I think from that point, we'll start to see more names falling into place, but it makes sense now. If you've got talent that, you're going to be maybe using down the line once you get everything set up in Ring of Honor to a way story-wise, then it makes sense to have them out there, working in front of crowds, doing all of this stuff. So make them all elite.
Make them
add them to
absolutely
add
them to the
It's just
roster.
going to help boost the women's division.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great roster there for women already, but Willow Nightingale, what an addition. Looking at NXT just now, they've got Halloween Havoc coming up tonight, actually. Tonight is Halloween Havoc. It's a big weekend for them. So Shawn Michaels did a little press media event, a little conference the other day where he was talking about developmental. And he spoke about Veer Mahan. Now, after months of non-stop coming, Veer Mahan made his Raw debut at WrestleMania 38. The night after WrestleMania 38, I should say.
I don't know how he gets anything done.
Yeah, just constant. Like, you know, he's like, I don't even want to think about
his
how much
house is just like damp.
It's like a Jackson Pollock painting. He would go on an undefeated streak on the brand as a silent foreign heel. However, he disappeared from TV in the summer, and he's recently reappeared in NXT, reformed in the shirt alongside Sanga. During the press conference, Shawn Michaels commented on the pair and said, whatever they call wrestling tropes, I'm off the cloth if you're not changing and evolving. If you're standing still, you're going backwards. They're both such clean, classy, sharp, really nice guys, and we want to present them that way. Shawn Michaels saying that he wants to avoid classic tropes in NXT.
Yeah.
I think he's done that. As much as people criticize NXT at times, their characters are some of the more unique and fun and wacky ones in wrestling.
It's one of those things where you cannot tell me that WWE had the whole plan for Veer is coming for that long. Like, it feels very much like, there's no space tonight, sorry. Not again.
No, more coming for you, Veer.
It's one of those things where it became such a monolithic thing because of the fan base, and then it became a trope out the back of that. And I think if you do lean too far into tropes, then you kind of back yourself into either a corner or down a set alley.
Yeah.
And you can't really get out without having to go back, rethink it, and then reapproach. So I think that at this level as well, with NXT being what it is, it should be more focused on characters, more focused on trying to find people's unique qualities, because it's those unique qualities that you need to then amplify once you get to the main roster.
Mm-hmm. Well, I totally agree. I feel like,
Veer going back down is a bit of a shame, but at the same time, it's exciting as a prospect to see maybe a different take on Indus.
I think we'll see Indus quickly back up in the roster soon, filling that spot of a big man
like
tag
dominant
team.
Tag team.
But hopefully with a new sort of twist on it. Look, obviously, if Shawn Michaels talking about there. Now, I've got a question for you, Sam.
Yes.
Would you like to see an AEW show come to the UK?
Of course.
Well, Tony Khan has given us a little tease.
Oh,
potentially a little tease.
What's he like?
He's keeping us on edge. Tony Khan took to Twitter once again last night to complain that due to Nyla Rose stealing the TBS championship from Jade Cargill, they were forced to use a replica belt for the ITV Wembley Stadium promo shoot. Now, ITV are the official broadcaster of AEW in the UK.
Yes, and for any Americans, they're like one of the major channels here.
Yeah, they're like one of our 5 public
when we used
service
to have
broadcasters.
terrestrial TV, there were 5, and they were one of them.
So they're one of the big ones. And Wembley Stadium, for anyone that doesn't know, is probably the biggest, most iconic stadium in the UK.
Yeah. It's kind of a big deal, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Maybe the WWE ran a show there once.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that one. It's an even bigger, fancier one now.
So Khan has previously said that he intends to run a show in the UK in 2023. So could this be it? A Wembley Stadium feels a bit big.
Wembley Stadium's gargantuan. There's no way.
He's got Craven Cottage sitting there.
There's no way. Like, I can see him doing it. I can see him putting it on, and the promotion build to it. It's possible. It is possible. And when I'm sitting here saying there's no way, it is possible. But you need every single fan. You need every single fan to bring fans.
Yep.
You need all of the promotion. You need the hottest card this country's ever seen.
Yep.
And then and only then will you have people going in their thousands to London. And
especially the cost of living crisis.
Yeah, especially with everything going on right now. So it doesn't make any sense as to why it'd be Wembley over Craven Cottage, but Wembley is certainly a stadium that I would love to see them run.
If they want to make a statement,
if WWE aren't going to do it, then we will.
If they want to make a statement, Wembley Stadium's the place to do it. Hypothetical, I would see them maybe doing it as a mashup card between.
Let me just
between
keep
WWE.
talking.
I would want to see a dream match, Forbidden Door, AEW, New Japan. Give another Forbidden Door. I'm going to make an estimate and say 90,000 people.
It's a lot
for Wembley Stadium.
Wembley's
There's a lot
90,000, but that's for football.
That's for football.
So you're going to be able to add a lot on the floor there. So maybe
let's talk about
100K, maybe over 100K.
Probably. I mean, once you take into the stage and whatever they build, probably somewhere between 95 to 100,000 people. AEW's biggest gate so far, off the top of my head, was Grand Slam, which I think was 18,000.
Yeah.
Tell me in the comments if I'm right.
I want to see it.
I would love to see
Don't
it.
you be teasing me, Tony.
Give
Don't
us-
you be
give us
giving me
a
blue
UK
balls,
show.
Tony. Give me Wembley.
Give us Wembley.
Wembley.
That's what we're going to go out with
Let's
on
do it.
today. We mentioned Ring of Honor in that at some point, so go and watch our video tomorrow that comes out on the channel where we discuss, is Ring of Honor harming AEW? Going as a wee discussion.
How dare you?
I know, right? Let us tell us how wrong we
Is
are.
a company that's been around for 22 years.
I knew this would get them started.
harming a. Oh.
Well, go and watch it, Sam. I know you'll keyboard get typing.
Oh, I'll be leaving comments, Fraser. I'll let you know exactly what I think here.
We will see you later.